Okay, so, welcome to the deep dive. And what's really cool this week is the resource you all sent us a podcast script from a YouTube channel called Fluent Talks. And it's all about, well, improving English listening skills. And given, how important that is, and to be honest, sometimes frustrating, we figured this was the perfect thing to really dig into, pull out those useful nuggets, just for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Fluent Talk script, it really goes for like the core of why listening in English can be so tough sometimes. Like they even mentioned like how fast native speakers talk, right? And then there's all that slang we use, the kind you don't always find in textbooks. And honestly, pronunciation can be all over the place. It's like a lot to handle.
Yeah, it is. It's like you're trying to keep up, right? But the meaning just sort of disappears on you. But, the really encouraging thing in this Fluent Talks material, it's this idea that, listening isn't just like something you're born with, right? It's a skill. Like you can totally get better at it with practice. And, they lay out some pretty neat ways to do that, which we're going to, unpack for you.
Okay, so they start off with a point that like, I don't think we can say enough. Strong listening skills. They're basically the foundation for confident English speaking.
Yeah.
You could have a fantastic, like, grasp of grammar, all the vocabulary, but if you can't understand what people are saying, really getting into conversations, it becomes a huge struggle.
Yeah, totally. And then Fluent Talks, they bring up this idea of like interactive practice. They've got the story about Emma. She's rushing to get her train, coffee in hand, and then bam, she realizes no wallet. And suddenly, buying a ticket becomes this whole problem.
And what's so smart about how Fluent Talks uses this story is they suggest you like actively engage with it. You listen through it once, just get the main idea, and then you listen again, but this time you've got these specific questions like, okay, where was Emma going? What did she forget? And why is she freaking out? It makes you listen so much harder that second time.
Right. And they say this super important thing. If you don't get those details the first time or even the second time, don't just give up. Go back, listen again. And they're saying that a repetition, it's a super powerful way to train your ear. And it kind of makes you think, right, how you could do this focused re-listening with any English audio you come across.
It's like turning listening from this passive thing you do to something active, which, that's the key. And that brings us to their actual active listening tips. Number 1, make listening a daily habit, even just 10 minutes. Why do you think that little bit every day makes such a difference?
Well, think of it like as exercise, but for your brain. When you're exposed to English regularly, even for short periods, your ear just gets more used to those sounds, the rhythm of the language. And 10 minutes, come on, that feels doable, right? So you can stick with it without feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly. And their second tip, this one is about using subtitles, but strategically. So they say, watch something without subtitles first, and then watch it again, but with them. Why that order, do you think?
It's about like getting different levels of understanding. That first watch, it really tests how much you're getting without any help, just your ears. And then the subtitles come in and they're like this tool to pinpoint exactly what you missed. You can see why you didn't catch those words. It's a much more focused way to learn.
Makes sense. And their last technique, they call it repeat and shadow. So you hear a sentence and then you immediately try to say it yourself. You try to match the speaker's pronunciation, the intonation, everything as close as you can. So how does that help your listening?
It's actually pretty cool because it's like you're connecting how you speak with how well you hear. Because when you try to make those sounds yourself, you become so much more aware of all those little details in pronunciation. And then your brain can recognize those same things when you hear someone else saying them. It's almost like your mouth is helping your ears learn.
And if we bring it all back to that original problem, right, fast speech and slang, the Fluent Talk script is reminding us that, like, the whole point of listening, it isn't just to hear words, it's to understand what's being said, the whole meaning. And when you use these techniques, you get better at figuring out the meaning even when you miss some of the words.
So for everyone listening, what we've really taken from this Fluent Talks deep dive is that consistency matters, making listening a regular habit, even just in little chunks. Then there's being clever with subtitles, targeting what you struggle with. And don't forget that repeat and shadow technique, it really fine-tunes your ear to English. It's all about actively listening, not just passively hearing.
And that brings us to like our final thought to leave you with this week. How could you try just one of these techniques in your daily life? Is there some English audio, maybe a quick news bit, a song you like, even another podcast you could use to start actively training your listening today?
Think about it.
Yeah, give it a shot.
We'll see you all next time on The Deep Dive.
All right, take care.